Hello everyone and welcome to Simon's Trading Channel. Thank you for joining me for another one of my videos. I hope you're all well. Happy Thursday to you. Coming towards the end of the week, you can kind of see it in the distance. You can wave to it. You could bid it adieu. Anyway, let's get on with the price action analysis. So yesterday was the FOMC meeting and kind of went as predicted. There was no great shakes by all accounts. We're going to ease quantitative tightening, but not institute quantitative easing. It's easier just to say QT and QE, right? Anyway, and Bitcoin wasn't particularly volatile as a result. Let's go straight on with the price action analysis after I cough. Now, this is the 4-hour chart, and you can see a few different things. I'll put the indicators on in a moment, but it's overall in a downtrend. You could draw a nice trend line here, picking out all the highs. The very low time frames, so the most recent time on this 4-hour time frames, you can see a sequence of a low, a higher low, a higher low, a high, a higher high, and a higher high. So the most recent trend on the 4-hour is to the upside, but the overall trend is to the downside. And if I was to do this, which I did a little while ago, should I try that again? Oh, there we are. It's appeared. My computer's on go slow today. You can just see that this is still in a downtrend, but it's sort of wedging its way in. Is that likely to continue for a while? Well, I don't know, but probably, yeah. Now let's get rid of that scribbling and stick on a few of my indicators. So the Bollinger Band. So you can see there was a period of consolidation here on the 4-hour. There's been a bit of volatility expansion to the upside, but not a great deal. It looks like it might have stalled out. And it's stalled out or is stalling out at this kind of key area, which is somewhere between, I would be so bold as to say, it's somewhere in the high 80s up to about 90,000. So somewhere between basically where price action hit, which was about 87 on this exchange, which is Bitstamp, to, basically around 90,000. So that's definitely going to be a sticky area from Bitcoin when it's approaching from below. So it's very likely and has been so far a resistance level. Doesn't mean Bitcoin can't bust above it, but it means it might struggle a little bit on the way up. So a bit of volatility expansion on the 4-hour, but looks like it may have stalled. I wanted to, we'll go up in time frames and I want to show you something on the weekly. So the daily here on the Bollinger Band, you can see it did close above the midpoint. And that would, in theory, if price action continues to the upside in a fairly aggressive manner, that would imply a target of around about 91.5 on this daily time frame, i.e. the top of the Bollinger Band. But clearly, if price starts to stall and goes kind of sideways and up, then the Bollinger Bands will continue to narrow in, and so that price target won't be quite so high, i.e. the volatility on the daily will continue to constrict and maybe see some sideways and up price action. Having said all that, it's not going to take a lot for Bitcoin to close back below the midpoint on the Bollinger Band on the daily, which is coming in basically around 85 and change. And if it did that, then probably a move back down towards the bottom of the Bollinger Band, which is currently around sort of 78 and change. So what does that mean? Well, it means that probably over the next few days, this isn't financial advice, but the best price you're likely to get to buy Bitcoin is probably around 80,000, or if only it was $80. And then potentially a sell price, not financial advice, is going to be around 90-ish. So what does that mean? Well, it's about $10,000 range, somewhere between $80,000 and $90,000 on this daily time frame. Either side of that will obviously set up a trending move, but in between those ranges, and it's exactly that, a range, or in between those two prices, it's exactly that range. Now, I think, interestingly, let's check out the weekly. So you can see the continuation of this kind of weekly trend on the Bollinger Band here. So ever since the bull run started, since the current macro low around 15K, when volatility expansion occurred on the Bollinger Bands here, it was an upside move. It then consolidated, and during the consolidation period, there was a move down to the bottom of the Bollinger Band, and then an expansion of the Bollinger Band to the upside, and then the same again. So a move that tested the bottom side of the Bollinger Band several times, and this was, wow, 6 months in total. But again, there was no volatility expansion to the downside. The volatility expansion when it came was to the upside. And something similar looks like it's occurring at the moment. So you can see the price is living towards the bottom of the Bollinger Band. There's been no expansion of volatility to the downside. However, the price is below the midpoint, and the midpoint's coming in at 94K. So this is for weekly closures, really. So what does that mean? Well, what it means is that the weekly environment is one of low volatility, narrow Bollinger Bands. So price can, do lots of movement within the weekly range from basically 81 to 108 at the moment. There's a really big range without expanding volatility in either direction. But when volatility expansion occurs, which it almost inevitably does, well, no, it always does, then what you want if you're looking for more upside is for the price to be above the midpoint. And the midpoint at the moment for a weekly closure is 94. So, quite far away from there at the moment on a weekly time frame. I just wanted to show you my own little trade strategy. I showed you this a little while ago. I just wanted to show it again. So my kind of bull bear bias, it's just very simple and uses this moving average here, which is again high-low. And you can see through the bull market so far, the really great buying opportunities have been when the price. So if you miss the entrance, the really good buying opportunities have been when the price comes close to the moving average and then moves back up, close to the moving average and then moves back up. And it's getting pretty close to the moving average now. You don't want to see our closures below it. And currently, the level is, and this is again on a weekly time frame, is around 71.5. So basically these highs here. So that's a clear support level. Could Bitcoin come down to there on a weekly time frame with a wick? Yeah, absolutely. I get the feeling it's not going to, actually. I get the feeling that the filling of the CME gap that already occurred last week may have been the low, but that's just my feeling, right? And take that with a pinch of seasoning. I don't know why I got the stochastic on there. That's just a little aid memoir. But yeah, so I'm looking at these kind of areas close to the moving average without closing below it as good opportunities for my own strategy. What you do is obviously up to you. And as I showed you before, I combine that with a daily time frame, and that at the moment is still in a downside position. So you can see entering into using the weekly as I just showed you, which is still in a long position, and using this daily over the same time frame keeps you in or gives you entries back into that weekly time frame long position by waiting for the price to get on the right side of that moving average. And I wouldn't look to short, even though, yeah, short would have been profitable. I wouldn't look to short on this time frame until the weekly time frame moves into a short position. And that's just the way I play it. So I'm not going to short the market until this happens, and then I can use my daily time frame to give me entries in and out of shorts. But for now, I haven't got my shorts on, even though the summer is coming. For now, I've still got my long trousers on, and so I'm looking for longs. Thank you so much for joining me for my video. I hope you've enjoyed it. If so, please like and subscribe, and join me next time for another Bitcoin price action analysis video. Take care. See you later.